Hey folks, welcome to the Evil DM Sage Advice. I am the Evil DM Vince, and welcome to my show. This week we're going to talk a little bit about how things have been going on. And I had a question from one of my players, and it was in my group, and we were talking about heel turns. And then heel turns would be a wrestling term. Yeah, I'm big into wrestling. Ooh, yeah. But heel turns would basically be as they seem a good guy all of a sudden shifting his alignment or shifting his allegiancy or alliancy from a good guy or a baby face in wrestling terms to a heel. He would just turn like that and get the crowd against him, or basically in the terms of D&D going from a good alignment to an evil alignment. Now, is that possible in D&D? Of course it's possible. It can happen in any game, any rule. Doesn't really matter what edition. Now, in the later editions, they don't have any penalties to changing alignments unless it involves the actual class that you're a part of that has a mechanic that says you have to be this certain alignment to retain these certain powers. Or if you're a kind of character that relies on a god that grants their permissions or powers, such as a cleric or whatever, then that god says you have to be good. That god says you have to be neutral. You have to stay within those boundaries of the alignments to make sure that you continue along with the powers that you have, or the class abilities that you're granted. Now, back in first edition, they actually did do some extreme things to you in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, and it wasn't very friendly. So they really didn't want you changing your alignment on a whim or purposely, because they didn't want characters starting out an adventure good and then all of a sudden shifting to evil in the middle of it. First edition D&D was about good adventurers roaming the lands. It really wasn't for making evil characters. You could. It was very much an option. But campaigns were based on heroic characters that were good and basically saved the day. That was the point of the adventurers. But you can play it however you want, so don't let me tell you. But there was a rule in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it was on page 24, and basically it was pretty drastic. And immediately upon changing alignment occurring, the character will lose 1 level of experience, dropping experience points to take him or her to the very beginning of the next lower level, including losing all the benefits of that said level before. So hit dice, hit points, any abilities that are accrued. So if you were a thief, you got certain abilities. You might have been, if you were a cavalier or something, you got abilities. So a voluntary alignment change would do that. An involuntary alignment change would do this as well, but it's up to the DM's discretion as far as I could see or I've ever used. That once your alignment returns back to it, you would automatically just get it back. But voluntary alignments would cause a lot of loss, and it wasn't fun to do that, so we never really would change it. I remember a couple adventures when I was playing, and back in the 80s, and my DM Joe, the great Joe DM, we call him on Roll for Initiative podcast, he would actually was a little more lenient with alignment changes, or heel turns as we call them. He would only take off certain amount of experience points. So like if we did it and he would give us a chance to make sure we were sure about what we were doing, and then he would take off like 2,000 experience points. Yeah, you think that is a lot, especially considering in first edition D&D, sometimes you didn't get a lot of experience, or depending on how much gold you found, that's experience you got. And I did talk about gold for experience in another one of my videos that you can take a look at. But yeah, he would do that. He would just start doing minusing experience points. He wouldn't do as drastic as an entire level, because at certain points it's thousands and thousands and tens of thousands for certain levels. And can you imagine going from, say, like a 10th level back to the 9th level? And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly how many points it was for a certain class, but say it was like 10,000 points. So not only did you lose how many you were at, you went down to like the lowest point of the 9th level. So if I was 10th, I went to 9th level, would say like 1 experience point over the 9th level threshold. And I had to get all that experience back. It was a pain in the butt. So it really did help characters not do heel turns in the game whatsoever. I think it's a little drastic. I do like that it has a rule in place for you, but I don't think I would be that mean to characters, or I should say players, if they're going to do heel turns. Usually when I start out my adventures or my campaigns, I will tell up front that I don't think that you should have an evil alignment. I will say this is a campaign for good alignments, or I don't really want evil alignments. And the players are usually generally cool with that, and they don't have any issues with me doing that. So as long as you're up front in session 0 and go over everything and the reasons why you're doing it, most players don't care. You may have some difficult players, but whatever. Give them, compromise somewhere else for them, and they'll be happy. As long as everybody's happy, you should have a good time. So, I mean, would you do this in your game? Minus experience points and level points like that? I mean, the most drastic thing I've ever done was penalize somebody with an experience level based on the book here. I did do a couple times minus 2,000 experience points, like Joe did it. Doubled if a person kept doing it, things like that. They would actually swapping alignments and things like that would get even worse. 4,000 points, things like that. Those are just drastic situations. So, what do you do in your campaigns as far as alignment changes from going from good to evil or from evil to good? Because there's also that factor too. If you're evil and start doing good deeds all of a sudden, it's just like, whoa, that's well beyond what your alignment should be doing, and you shouldn't be doing anything good, like a lawful good. Like a chaotic evil character shouldn't be doing lawful good acts ever. But hey, maybe they do. Maybe they had like a moment of self-awareness or something. I don't know what to say, but tell me what you do in your campaigns. I'd be interested to hear about heel turns, how you handle them, if you do anything at all, because the later editions really don't do anything at all. And I think there should be some sort of accountability for you shifting and starting a game as chaotic good and then all of a sudden becoming chaotic evil. Or becoming lawful good going to chaotic evil, or lawful good to neutral evil, things like that. Now, I did, in another video, also talked about how I dropped these alignments completely and gave players a lot more freedom by only doing a 3-point alignment system, dark, light, and gray. And I defined each of them in that video and for the players. And we go over it in detail in session 0 every time just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But those 3 alignments are very, very loose. So it gives the player a chance to wiggle around in those things. I mean, obviously, dark is just evil. Nothing you can do about that. But light and gray give you a lot of space to play the good/neutral alignments and still be a little bit, I guess the word is naughty, I don't know, but a little bit evil, but still maintain the good side of your character. It just gives you more freedom in my games. And that's why I decided to go to those systems. But tell me how you handle the heel turns in your game. I'd be interested to hear about that in the comments. So hit the like for me, hit a subscribe if you haven't, comment below. And I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.